bit. Just give me a second. This isn't a in-depth historical breakdown of the Haitian Revolution. I just wanted to put Dessalines up there with the fires from the current protests that are going on now in France about the austerity measures. This is just more of a conversation in regard to, well, the idea of internationalism, the idea of like people connecting with each other across the board. Because when you look at something like the Haitian Revolution, right? It was what, August 22nd, 1771. I mean, sorry, 1791 when it happened. It happened 2 years after the French Revolution. But August 14th, 1791, there was like a ceremonial situation. What was it? I forgot the name of it exactly. But you had Sicily, Fatima, and yeah, Sicily, Fatima, and you had Dib. What was his name? I can't even remember his name off the top of my head right now. Nevertheless, to make it make sense, French Revolution happened 1789. Haitian Revolution happened 1791. They're connected because France was in a personal schism within themselves, a bunch of fissures, a lot of stuff going on. The one of the most prosperous colonies within the French colonial project was Santo Domingo, which is now Haiti and Dominican Republic. When they started all the infighting and internal like bleeding and shit like that, you have people who have made the connections on how the failings of that empire caused the failings of caused the failings of Santo Domingo. So now, hold on, because this name is gonna bother me. It was oof. Yeah, Sicily Fatima. On August 14th, it was Sicily Fatima and oh my God, his name is gonna bother me now. My brain is running because it's not gonna allow me to not get his name right. Oh, there we go. Dutty Bookman. Dutty Bookman and Sicily Fatima were like the two people. They were two like very prominent people within the voodoo religion and culture. And there's talk that they were both of Muslim faith. Some people try to disconnect them from that and say that they gave up Islam to go into voodoo. Some people don't. Some people don't like the syncretism, the syncing of them both. And it's like honestly, when you think about religion and you think about spiritual beliefs or whatever, like the rigidness that people try to force upon people, I don't really see the point because, like, ecumenically speaking, if it's all like connecting to like a one greater good, then what's the point of like flipping out if the greater good was to have the Haitian Revolution? So you had Bookman and you had Fatima, who headed the ceremony on August 14th of 1791 in regards to talking about like, yo, we about to we about to get the fuck up. We about to get the fuck up through because this slavery shit ain't really popping. So they set that all up. So August 22nd, 1791 is when it like first officially started. And from August 22nd, 1791 to, I don't remember the exact date in 1804, but the exact date 1804, that's the whole revolution. Within that time, there was a lot of infighting amongst revolutionaries. There was a lot of infighting amongst colonial powers like France, Spain, and Britain. and then you added in North America nearing the end of it. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of, like I said, infighting amongst the revolutionaries, infighting amongst the colonial powers, because it went from it happening in 1791 to about 1794 when France like abolished slavery in the colonies. But what's hilarious about that, we'll get back to it, is, well, no, get to it now, is that when they abolished slavery in the colonies, it was abolished to then transition enslaved people to workers. So, like, when people make the connection of wage slavery and to slavery, is because it's not a fantastical metaphor. It's quite literally, yeah, like, and it's not to say somebody working a job who's getting paid is in fact an enslaved person. Those two things are very different. But it is to say, like, it is a it is a for lack of a better term, a de-evolution of the evil aspects of what slavery is for the predator class. Like, it's a de-evolution. Like, they're going backwards in a sense for them, because they're like, yeah, I just wanted this person to be property. I ain't want to pay him. But it's also an evolution for those people who were enslaving people to now be their managers and bosses, because now you are having the people that you enslaved pay you as far as like taxes, rent, or whatever like that. So when they abolished slavery in 1794, again, obviously slow process because there wasn't like no fucking internet. So you had like planters in their plantations not wanting to allow people to be free. In turn, that's why you had like Toussaint and Dessalines and everybody, and Toussaint's nephew and all that other shit, like bringing brigades to fight the plantation class, and but it's just the idea of like the worker. Nevertheless, to get back to the point, so you had that 1791. You had 1794 with the abolishing of slavery. Oh, what up, Julian? What up, Ducky? What up? Are you all? I'm gonna get the goddamn name right. I keep messing it up, and my apologies. But you had that happen. The reason from 1791 to 1804, there was a bunch of intrigue, all types of wild shit. You had the predator. I mean, you had the predator class trying to get his way back in. You had Toussaint making concessions and deals with America and Britain, because Britain was fighting France about getting the colony, because Britain wanted to take over Santo Domingo. Also, what's it? Oh, Britain want Ayor. All right, cool, got it. Britain wanted to take over Santo Domingo, and they ended up getting their ass kicked. And then they also did a deal with Toussaint. But at the time, when you think about that again, as far as this is all going to make more sense as I go, but you have people fighting for their liberation. You have several colonial powers, several imperial powers trying to not only stall, repress, suppress the liberation movement, but really cash in. Because Santo Domingo was a very profitable colony. Like, Cap Haiti, like, it was the port. Like, that's where they fought at a lot, because that was the main port. And when you see how that connection of over 13 years, Haitian people were fighting for their liberation, dealing with all kinds of contradictions. In that time, you hear people ask or say, like, yo, we need another Haitian revolution, or yo, we need something similar to that. We need something that is, what up, everybody? Appreciate y'all being here. We need that, something similar to that. It's like people don't deal with the contradictions though. They just think everything is so fantastical and so extravagant. Where you see or you learn something about like the Haitian Revolution, and you be like, yeah, we just need to do something like that, blah blah blah. It's like, first of all, even in that, they weren't on the same accord. Again, I just told you, Toussaint did deals with the British and the Americans because he hated the French, and he was still under the French. He was in the He was a part of the French. I forgot what it was exactly, but like they're not necessarily kind of, yeah, basically aristocracy. And then the French used a quote unquote mulatto named Andre, um, to cause a schism within the Haitians again, who because Andre was he was a mulatto because he was half African and I think probably indigenous too and white or whatever, however you describe that as far as under French. And you see how you can't look for revolution without proper community, without proper organizing. You can't be like, yo, we need something like the Haitian Revolution. First of all, again, 13 years is how long it took for Haiti to be quote unquote liberated. Well, free. They weren't liberated because look where we at today. So 13 years for Haiti to be free, right? Within that 13 years, you had Haitians battling the French, Haitians battling quote unquote some free blacks who were working with the planters, the planter class, which was predominantly white, and some free blacks, and even some mulattoes, or some free blacks and some mulattoes. You had Haitians battling mulattoes. You had Haitians battling the Spanish. You had Haitians battling again themselves. So it's like the contradictions that arose for 13 years led to, after one of the wildest things is when in 1794, when the French abolished slavery and then just made everybody workers, even though there was still people, even though the conditions, the material conditions didn't change that much, and then there was still some people that were still enslaved on the island because again, the internet didn't exist. So and then if you somebody that owns humans, you probably don't want to let them free now. So in that time, you had Toussaint letting some power go to his head, him doing a lot of deals with the French, again, being a part of the French aristocracy, whatever have you. Um, him trying to work out a way to carve out a way for himself to be like the supreme ruler and leader of the whole situation. Him kind of, the people, like the newly freed people, like looking at him like, yo, fam, we went from like enslaved to like now working in the same kind of conditions. Like actually, there's a dope ass quote from his nephew. I think you pronounce it Moisey. He said the blacks had not conquered their liberty to labor again under the rod and the whip on the properties of the white. He said that because his uncle, I think Toussaint was his uncle. I might have said he was his uncle. I've been talking a little fast. I'm going to slow down a little bit. But they were related. But he said that about Toussaint because he was on the side of the free, quote unquote free blacks and quote unquote mulattoes and everybody else who was like, yo, fam, you're just doing white people stuff. Like, yeah, okay, we've been fighting, we trying to get free or whatever, we trying to, establish a kingdom of Haiti that is not, a colonial situation, and you still trying to align with the French, and then you also are still treating the quote unquote workers class like the skilled laborers. You're treating us like we're enslaved. What's going on here? Right? So the idea of, again, this ain't a hard, I'm not about to sit here and give, because I don't know all the history of the Haitian Revolution. It's really fun learning about it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the idea of trying to instill in a people the thoughts of wanting to be liberated is not just, hey man, I'm mad about something. Let's go burn some shit down or whatever. Hey, YouTube, I'm that's hypothetical. You can't really get that off without constantly dealing with the contradictions. The conversations need to happen. Like, there's gonna always be dialectical tension because For instance, there's 6 people in this chat right now, or watching this video and in the chat right now, right? We can all agree on some things, but we might not all agree on everything. But that doesn't mean we can't all work together. But we also all have to hear each other out, see why we are all talking, how we are all talking, and then figure out how we got to where we got to. Because it is unfair to just meet people on a position of, oh, you hate this thing, I hate this thing too. Let's fucking go. Like, that's not gonna do anything but cause more friction. Because eventually we are going to beef about something. And it don't even really gotta be beef for real. It's just the idea, again, the Haitian Revolution started at a voodoo ceremony. The name of it is escaping me right now, and I don't want to Google it because I got it in my phone because I just been cramming stuff about the Haitian Revolution. Because like I knew about it in the peripheral, but then like reading more about it, it's like, God damn, this shit was wild. But like the idea of the Haitian Revolution, right, started. So think about this: started from the tradition of voodoo, from voodoo, right? For it to later, in like right before Haiti was quote unquote like independent, for them to ban voodoo. Like for them to ban voodoo and be like, yeah, now we a Christian nation. So it's really, you gotta deal with the contradictions. And to tie this more to the whole overarching point of internationalism, it's like the same bullshit that was happening then and happening in a whole nother, in a whole nother place, on a whole nother island, happens here. When you think about the fact that in 1794, France was like, damn, we getting our ass kicked a little bit. We're gonna abolish slavery and we're gonna try to, work some things out to maybe, see if we can like smooth some things over. We just gonna make them workers now. Like, they didn't even reckon as a collective would work. Like with the idea of labor at that point. And to the dialectical end where Moises, who is, hold on, I'm gonna just go because I think that's his nephew. I think Moises was Toussaint's nephew. Excuse me, give me 1 second. What is this? Haiti Revolution. I think this was his nephew. Yeah. I can't pronounce that last name to save my life. Oh, wow. I love that. I love that. What's the name? Didn't even. I love that. I love that Wikipedia doesn't want to tell you that they're related, even though they're related. But I forgot. I think this is because I was I think this is his nephew. I think Moisey is Toussaint's nephew. But nevertheless, he got to the point where he saw his family member becoming the thing that they hated. So to tie that again to the idea of internationalism, like the struggles that happen all around the world, while they are different in regards to material conditions in certain regards, you have to remember to listen to people, not just hear them. Because hearing somebody is like, for instance, right now, this is hearing me. Like if you're listening, that's also awesome. But this is hearing me in the sense of like, this is just on and I'm talking and like, folk, everybody that's here, appreciate you all. But y'all could be having your own conversations in the chat and not talking about any fucking thing I'm talking about at all. So that's not, I don't see it as disrespectful, but I see that as that's hearing me because you hear me talking, you hear all this happening, but listening is like just being engaged with it. And I think a lot of people don't want to engage with people at certain points. So you end up at a head where you are telling your own family member, hey man, why are you trying to restart like slavery, but under a Haitian? Like what's going on here? Like, and then you tie that to the point of now where France is frantic again and is hating on Islam, how they hate on Islam, which would be funny because if Boatman and Fatima were both Muslim, that and then they were also dealing with voodoo, that would make sense why France hates Islam. But nevertheless, I'm not trying to be a homer because I'm Muslim, but I'm not even about to do that. It's not no home team shit. That's really strange. Uh they're telling kids or whatever not to wear abayas at school. The school chants, whatever the hell their positions are in France. Somebody that's ahead of the school situation in France said, "I feel like I shouldn't be able to tell what religion you are by the clothes that you wear." What the fuck does that even mean? What does how what like? But that kind of, you're not listening to people. Like you're just going off of what you hear as far as like being reactionary, like France is and like other places are. They're reactionary. You become very reactionary when you don't listen and you just hear. So for instance, to tie it back to the Haitian Revolution, at at the ceremony, August 14th, 1791, when the voodoo priest or whatever, put out there, put on them, put on everybody there that yo, revolution is gonna happen. Here, oh yeah, Morocco word. Here, my people, like we're gonna get up out of this. Everybody was listening at that part, right? They were listening to revolution. They were listening to attack your oppressors. We're going to be free. But then, as the listening gone, they were doing what they had to do. August 22nd, 1791. Then people started doing shit. Then fissures and schisms started happening because people were just hearing each other. You just hear like, oh, slavery is abolished in Haiti. All right, but I want you to still like work on this plantation, and you might not get paid that much. And I mean, you're gonna do it because I'm black, right? Like, is it not cool? Because come on, bro, stop I say, right? So it's a lot of that, and that screws up with the idea of internationalism, with the idea that we could be now in 2025 and Haiti could still be paying for wanting to liberate itself, and people can be here right now arguing why we shouldn't deal with or talk to or talk about issues in other parts of the world, why we shouldn't interact with these ideas as if we only worry about our house, then everything will be fine. It's kind of like, think about it like this, right? There's a bunch of analogies you can use, but if you live in row houses and your house gets set on fire, you can't only worry about your house burning down. You're putting out that fire because you're worried about your house burning down, but you also need to be worried about the other houses, because if you don't fully put out the flames, maybe a little ember trickles over to the house next door, and then now that house is on fire. And if that house only worries about it not burning down, then a little bit of that, a little ember might trickle over to the next house over. And then you're going to constantly put out the fire until somebody forgets to take out a little bit, to take out the fire at home enough, like whatever that's supposed to look like. And you end up in a situation where all of the houses are on fire. Like when it came to Haiti, when they abolished slavery in 1794, when they were still fighting for freedom, fighting against the British through the revolution, fighting against the French, fighting against the Spanish, aligning with America because and sometimes with the British to go against the French, and then getting the Spanish out and then getting the French out, yada 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 yada. The powers that be that was still positioning the colonial predator powers that was still positioning to take Haiti because they wanted the ports and the labor, they made sure, like Thomas Jefferson sent a letter out, I think to France. Like I think he might have sent it to Napoleon Bonaparte when he took France over, because after France got his ass kicked initially, France came back in like 1803 or whatever, and he tried to bring slavery back or whatever the fuck, and it didn't work out. But through that time, I think Thomas Jefferson sent him a letter, sent somebody a letter. Yeah, my brain. Nevertheless, Thomas Jefferson was just like, yeah, man, we're gonna make sure like that nobody else really knows about all that's going on over here, type shit. We're gonna make sure it's quiet. So the thing I also want you to think about is that the quote unquote powers that be, which are just predators, and essentially they are very self-conscious and self-serving because they are selfish, they are very international. They do not believe in borders. They all work together. Because again, at the time of that 13-year revolution, Britain and France were beefing. Spain was already there because of Columbus and all that other shit. The Americas was just moving on up. So as they beefing and doing whatever they doing, they're still thinking about, hey, I know we fighting over this former colony of yours, but let's make sure none of our other enslaved Africans know anything about this. We don't want them getting any ideas. So that's to let you know that I don't have to agree with all of your points for us to get where we're trying to go. I mean, get where we're trying to go. Get where we're trying to get and go where we're trying to go. So this utopian, monolithic way, fantastical way in which people look at revolution, resistance, and all of these things, you miss so much by not doing everything. Because if colonial powers can decide, hey, we may be beefing about who's going to take Santo Domingo, now known as Haiti. If we beefing about who's going to take that, we still can have a agreement between us like, hey, man, let's make sure that this story don't get out. Like, I know I hate you. I might have killed some of your guys, might have sank some of your ships, trying to, might have coerced a couple people to, switch sides, trying to, get Santo Domingo. But let's make sure that nobody else knows about this. Like, the arguments amongst everybody that wants something different than what we're in currently is very disjointed in that there are people in places, whether it be in the States or whether it be in the global South, just all around all around our society, all around human society, that want different. They want change. They want whatever. But people tend to become ideologues about how they want these things. They don't want to listen. They want to be heard. They don't want to. They want to be heard. No, they want to be sorry. They want to be listened to. They don't want to just be heard. Again, meaning hearing somebody is me yelling. If you see somebody walking down the road and you hear them yelling, you're like, okay, you hear them yelling. You don't know what the fuck they're saying. You just hear them yelling. You get closer, you try to tune in. You put your ear, you put your finger to your ear. Now you're listening. Now you're trying to figure out what they're saying. That's listening. Listening takes intent. Hearing just means you got ears, and they just happen to work, or one, or whatever. But that's the thing. A lot of people want different. They want change. They want whatever they want, but they want to be listened to as they hear everybody else. There's a vast difference in the two. So if colonial powers can fight over Haiti, exactly. If colonial powers fight over fight over Santo Domingo, wanting it to be their colony, wanting to reinstitute slavery, wanting to do all of these things, right? And they can agree, hey, I know all of this is happening, but we're gonna make sure that no one else knows that this is all going on, because we don't need more of this happening. Like, that's the position that I think people need to take in that you should follow, obviously, look at history so you don't repeat it. And also pay attention to the screwed up people, to the people that are willing to do whatever for whatever, because they tend to know how to I mean, again, look at what we all in now. And I'm not even talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about period. Like all of my life. Look at what we all have been in since I've been alive, since everybody here has been alive before that, right? The thing that all of these people have done is they've been able to keep a strong network. People keep talking about, oh, empire takes 250 years to fall, oh, America's next, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So that you tend to make it seem like an empire is and you also make it seem like people who were empire all just don't exist at all anymore. Like that they died, that their whole bloodline is gone. Or you also make it seem like the ideology is just gone. You make it as if the enemy of your liberation isn't constantly learning because they're constantly working. So empires don't necessarily fall, they just evolve. Like it's just shedding, it's just a caterpillar shedding its cocoon. And then it becomes a butterfly. And then it becomes whatever that Pokemon butterfly is. And then it maybe becomes like a blue-eyed white dragon from fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! One time in my life. But the blue eyes white dragon, that was a hard card. But you see, so when you see like that empire evolves over time, it makes no sense for you to be like, yeah, you know what, America's gonna end, blah blah blah, late stage capitalism. It's like the version that you're dealing with might be over, but it's not over because the people have to do something. Like this idea, this teleological idea that it just like, well, it's not even teleological because you got to be doing something to think that something. Well, I guess there's something that's talking and just like kind of moving around a little bit. So this teleological idea that if we keep doing or saying these things, putting these videos up, blah blah blah, and the third, that empire is gonna be over, or like look at. It's like, nah, man, it's more that has to be done. Like organize with your people, mutual aid, work together, all of these kind of things. Work through the contradictions, conversations, work through the contradictions. Because another great example, again, empire evolving. Say for instance, Target. Target right now, domestically, is struggling. Target isn't necessarily an international company. They don't have places around the world like that. They do have like a shipping kind of situation that's international, but they don't have like stores in other countries. Like for instance, like I lived in Thailand, there's like KFC out there with like an anime character. It's pretty fucking wild. But like they don't have they're not global like that as far as stores and all that, right? Target's failing out. Some of the Target locations are closing. They're firing some corporate employees. They thinning the retail staff. They're doing all that. People are like, yeah, word, fuck that. Fuck Target. Go. Down with Target. It's like, but those people that were getting money in Target, they're going to still find a way to get money. You don't know all of those people that were in Target getting money, right? And even if you did, they still, I mean, Elon Musk still gets money. So those people are going to find a way. So it's like, don't allow revolution, the idea, to bring you to a point where you lose out on actual revolution. So, yeah, that's all I really got to say. I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you hit like, comment, subscribe, all the things. I'm close to 500 subscribers. It's kind of cool. All right, peace.